That's actually going to be Rostamol leading the way. But a couple of drivers potentially just looking to go out a touch early, give themselves a chance at potentially getting a second push lap. If they do make a mistake on that first one, both Kick Saubers out of the pits, both Ferraris are out of the pits, both V-Carb, actually no, sorry, not both V-Carbs out of the pits. Those colors are rather close between Red Bull and V-Carb, I suppose, rather fittingly. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, yellow flags as a couple of drivers check up. That's the Ferraris making a mistake. But it is Hood Kool-Aid Man on provisional pole. The first driver into the 31s here. But looking like it's going to be clear skies once again. Speedy Gunner did actually make it back to the pits, so he may actually still have the chance to make his way out, as a number of drivers out on jumping out of the pits onto outlaps. So Rostamol, of course, going to be the first to set another competitive lap time. But how much traffic is he going to have to deal with in his team's home race as he makes his way into the S's? So clear track ahead of him as it sits. We'll have to see how it continues. And he's up slightly through Sector 1, of course, in that battle for, trying to start in those points positions. Hood Kool-Aid Man does not think he'll improve, so he will retire from the session. So our provisional pole sitter will not get another lap. And of course, Rostamol going to be the first to set another competitive lap time as he blasts his way down the back straight. Of course, that's a V-Carb up ahead of him, going to be diving to the inside. That's Charles, teammate of Benji Boy, who of course currently sits in third. So we'll have to see if he can put up anything respectable. Of course, jumping to Semi Yildiz as he just starts a lap but goes very deep. So that's probably his qualifying over. Potentially, though, looking to give his teammate a little bit of a tow, as he went very deep there at turn 1 and almost certainly lost a load of time. Yeah, he's going to actually just cut the circuit. Is he going to look to give his teammate a bit of a tow here? That is not allowed. So that could potentially be a penalty post-race coming for Semi Yildiz as he looks to give his teammate of Guardian Knight a bit of a tow. Because generally we allow cutting the track to get out of somebody's way, but not to give that tow. So we'll have to see what happens with that one. But certainly questionable there from the Ferrari, who could be battling for provisional pole to do that for his teammate. Benji Boy, meanwhile, making his way through Sector 1, could be the only one to potentially take the fight to Hood Kool-Aid Man now, as he's up early on in his lap. Sneaky Robbie coming up to the end of Sector 2, so we'll have to see what happens there. Sema, I think, also holding up the Kick Sauber and the Red Bull here. So what happened there? That is the end of qualifying, though. Speedy Gunner does not get a better lap in. He'll start 9th. Kendricks will start 11th. Formula Jonah in 12th. But it's going to be McLaren coming to the line of Oreo African. He will not improve. Guardian Knight, after getting that tow from his teammate, was still comfortably down. He's barely going to improve at all. He'll start in 15th. But that was certainly questionable from him. Husky Gaming invalidated his lap. He'll start no better than 8th. Speedy Gunner did the same. So it'll be a Mercedes next to line. That is Robbie. So can he take the fight to Hood Kool-Aid Man, to his teammate for pole position? Here in COTA, Senate will start no better than 2nd. Robbie will start 3rd, so that leaves just a couple of drivers left. It's going to be Arstrading to the line next. Is he going to improve? He will start no better than 4th. Benji Boy was up a 10th through the first bit of his lap, though. Here he comes into the final corner. Where will Benji Boy jump to? He'll jump to provisional pole on debut. It's the V-Carb on provisional pole. Can Rolik do anything about it? Yes, he will. It's a 31.8 from the McLaren to jump Benji Boy in the dying stages of qualifying. So it's Rolik on pole. It'll be Benji, P2, Hood Kool-Aid Man in 3rd, Semi Yildiz in 4th, Robbie, Arstrading, and then Eric, Husky, Speedy, and Dachal round out your top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights. And we're underway here in Austin. Seemingly a good getaway from Rolik. Less so for Benji. As we make our way into turn 1, it'll be pretty comfortable for the Ferrari for the McLaren as they spread out behind. As that's a Haas of LAF not getting off the line. as he will not be starting this race. Stratting looking around the outside of Hood Kool-Aid Man, though, as we make our way through, and they're going to be side by side. So yeah, LAF is going to be disqualified from the session. M Requiem as well with a spin out of turn 1. As we make our way through, it's Rolik with a comfortable lead from Benji Boy. Semi Yield is Stratting into 4th. Hood Kool-Aid Man and Sneaky Robbie in 5th and 6th. Formula Jonah getting Guardian Knight and Dachal there on the exit of the S's, so a good move from him. Luke 2 Red looking to make a move here on, who was that? On Stray Dog as well. A little bit of contact, though. Oreo involved in that. Of course, no DRS here on the first lap. You can see the Red Bulls of Speedy Gunner and Alcoholic Husky battling side by side. Husky going to dive his way back through. Rolik powering through early has managed to open that gap to a 2.5 seconds. Here comes Sema looking to the inside of Benji Boy, as will our Stratting. So the Ferrari and the Aston Martin making their way back through. Stratting looking to the inside of the Ferrari. He's going to find his way through. So Stratting gets 2 cars in one go, and now he'll have the chance to go chasing after Rolik. Eric, meanwhile, able to get moves done on both Mercedes drivers, as they're seemingly holding up this chase pack. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Who is that for? That is for Dachal, who potentially got caught up with a spin there at turn 1. Potentially a little bit of contact, though. It seems that he was a bit further down out of that first corner. No damage to his car, at least not clear damage. Up the front, though, it's still Rolik with a comfortable advantage over those cars behind, and looking to, I think, just stretch the legs of that McLaren. Here comes Stratting. Semi Yield is looking to the inside. Bit of a late move, and I think Stratting chopped down on him a little bit as Semi and him come together. 5 spots, so he's had a good race so far, though is rather far back from Guardian Knight. Formula Jonah now up 4 as Benji Boy finds his way past the Ferrari with the assistance of DRS, so we'll see if he can get past Stratting as well, making his way past Semi Yildiz. And Eric and Hood Kool-Aid Man, I haven't realized, have now turned up to the party, so now it's going to be a continued interesting battle for second, as a number of drivers have pulled up. But lap was able to make a getaway early. Here comes Stratting down the inside of Benji. He's going to get that move done rather comfortably. And Stratting back up into second after that incident with Semi Yildiz, but potentially try and conserve some fuel, conserve their tires, let other drivers lead for short periods of time. Of course, that'll be interesting to see. Here comes Benji to the inside. He's going to get that move done. So, but Stratting not willing to concede, and is actually going to squeeze him out with contact. And so Benji going to drop down the order. He's going to fall back behind Eric and potentially behind Hood Kool-Aid Man as well. Yellow flag in Sector 2. That's for one of the Williams, as Benji looking to hold on to that car, and it will slot back in eventually in P5. Formula Jonah and Alcoholic Husky battling side by side through the middle sector, and it's going to be Jonah still holding on. Flag in Sector 3, that's for a spun Red Bull. I believe that is Alcoholic Husky. No, that is Speedy Gunner, as Husky Gaming gets a 3-second time penalty. As I believe Hood Kool-Aid Man did have to cede position back to Benji Boy, that or there was some contact that he wanted to make good on. Down the back straight in this battle for P2, here comes Semi Yildiz down the inside of our Stratting. He's going to get that move done rather comfortably. Good exit, though, from Stratting, who's going to take a peek around the outside, though not quite going to be able to find anything to make it stick. Going to take a look at the inside. Eric all over his rear wing as well. So it's Semi opted for, actually Benji going to retire in the pits. So Benji was running very comfortably there. Definitely surprising as to why he would retire in the pits. Potentially just a time issue on his end. And Semi potentially just holding onto those tires that little bit better. Yellow flag in Sector 1, that's Rostamol out, and that is going to bring out a safety car. That was Rostamol and Husky Gaming coming together, I believe, in that middle sector, and that Haas is right on the circuit. LAF, of course, now leaving the session. But it'll be very interesting when Hood Kool-Aid Man attempts to go. Of course, he's going to be trying to play the long game here, looking for potentially another safety car, though even if it comes, it would really hurt his chances. Of course, he would have the newest tires on the field. Not looking to go yet, looking to take off now. So we're about to get back underway here at the start of lap number 12. Rolik keeping with him very nicely. Eric and Robbie swapping places. Rolik looking to get the deal done very quickly. He's going to go right to the inside in the run up to turn 1. And Rolik, with a great restart, takes the lead here on lap number 12. It doesn't even let Hood Kool-Aid Man lead for a corner under green flag conditions, and is immediately going to try to take off into the distance. Hood Kool-Aid Man behind him is going to be battling with Semi Yildiz, who gets that moved on to the inside of the S's. The Mercedes actually having to take to the runoff as those tires not up to temperature, and he's going to have to stay out of the way of everybody. Oreo Hafrican, 3-second time penalty for track limits. He's gone off in Sector 1. Eric as well gets a 3-second time penalty, but Oreo able to recover his car. But here on lap number 12, it's Rolik, Semi Yildiz, and Stratting now in the lead. Eric about a second adrift. But it's these front three now. As Alcoholic Husky, a driver with a really good restart, he's up into P5. Those medium tires going nicely. Hood Kool-Aid Man, another 3-second time penalty for track limits. He's fallen all the way down to 13th. So that restart could not have gone worse for him. Of course, as he had to try and rejoin. Hood Kool-Aid Man actually out of the session. Is that going to bring out another safety car? It will. So I think those tires just not working for Hood Kool-Aid Man. He's going to go out into the wall, and that's another safety car. Degrees. Alcoholic's tires, I can't quite tell. Actually, his tires might be the coldest of the bunch. So Husky, I think, really struggling to keep those tires up to temperature. As the likes of Robbie, Jonah managing to do better with those tires in about 170 degree range. 170 is probably where you want to be. But we'll jump to our leader of Rolik, see where he decides to go. Of course, those tires nice and fired up, and he's going to go rather early. Gets a great jump compared to Semi Yildiz. That gap now up to 1.5 seconds. Caught him napping. And as we get back underway, it's Rolik with 1.5 seconds advantage. Big slide from Eric, who's actually going to lose a load of places. That's going to bump Alcoholic up into P4 on those mediums. Jonah going to get spots. Robbie gets moved on as well, as I think Jonah having to drop a couple places back. That's a big slide from Guardianite, who's going to collect the chaw there as well. Sneaky Robbie. Oh, that's actually going to be a bunch of 10-second time penalties for ignoring yellow flags, which will likely be removed if not served, because we saw how big of a slide Eric had there, so we'll keep that in mind as this race continues. But DRS going to open up on the back of that Aston Martin. But yeah, certainly looking like a 3-horse race here. Alcoholic Husky going to have Robbie looking down his inside. Here comes Eric as well. Robbie going to get that moved on. Will Eric make it 2 positions lost for Husky? He's going to have a peek to the inside. Husky now boxed in. Eric now looking around the outside as the Alpine and the Red Bull remain side by side. A little bit of contact there, but seemingly all good. It's big contact there between Husky and Eric. Good on both to manage to hold on to that car. Formula Jonah able to get around to the inside of Dutch Hall briefly, but not quite able to get it done. So it's Sneaky Robbie up in 4th, Eric in 5th, Alcoholic down into 6th on track. But Semi Yildiz should get this moved on rather comfortably, as Rolik going to pinch him all the way to the inside. Semi, though, able to get past, going to swoop back to the outside of the track, and is going to take the lead. A little bit of contact on the rear, though, from the McLaren, and it's going to be Semi Yildiz taking the lead here on lap number 18. That gap, 0.5 seconds, so Semi not pulling away very quickly. Rolik, of course, now going to have the DRS advantage. We'll see if he tries to get that moved on into turn 1. That gap closing 0.3, 0.2. He's going to take a peek to the inside. Later on the brakes, is going to find that move to the inside. Semi Yildiz, though, still looking around the outside, and so they'll be side by side into turn 2. And the S's, and they come together. Rolik across the front of Semi Yildiz. And that's going to allow Stratting right back into this fight, as I think Rolik thought he was potentially clear, though not quite. And so that is once again going to turn this into a 3-car fight. So, of course, that will be subject to review as Dachal and Luke 2 Red battling through this middle sector. The V-Carb and the Aston Martin going at it, and they're going to remain side by side through that triple right. And of course, Jonah sitting right there in the back, hoping to take advantage of the battle. Rolik, though, gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit. So again, now it's our advantage stratting and Yildiz as this battle for 7th place continues. They remain side by side as they pull out onto the pit straight. DRS for Jonah and Dechal. Jonah gonna get Dechal here. Can he get Luke to red as well? No, a little bit boxed in, and is gonna hold on. Gonna go side by. It's gonna be Jonah and Dechal side by side now as Stray Dog retires in the pits. So we'll continue with green flag racing, but it's Jonah up into 8th on track. Yellow flags. That's for Kendricks with a mistake in that middle sector. So potentially getting caught up in that fight as it's, very tight here. Here comes Dechal round the outside. Going to get squeezed out by that Aston Martin of Luke to red. Here comes Formula Jonah looking for the cutback. Good exit from Dechal. He's going to look right to the inside. Formula Jonah going to have to swap back to the outside here. As Dechal, a little bit of lag, 3 wide here down the backstretch. Who's going to come out of it first? Dechal to the inside. Jonah going to back out. Can Dechal get that done? No, not quite. Luke 2 Red still holding that outside. Almost 3 wide again as they continue battling here through Sector 2. And there's damage, actually, on Dechal's V-Carb. So was that potentially due to an incident with Kendricks? So that V-Carb a little bit compromised now. But it's now Rolik with the lead. And I think Stratting and Yildiz now battling has given Rolik the potential opportunity to go and win this race. Of course, Robbie right on the back. He's shown a lot of pace in closing up to the back of this field. DRS open on the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Semi Yildiz comfortably to the inside. He'll be a couple of car lengths ahead of Stratting into the braking zone. The gap at the front, 1.5 seconds. Guardian Knight, of course, now is rocked up to this battle. He's going to get Luke Tourette. Is he going to get Dechal as well? He's going to look around the outside of the V-Carb. Can he get that move done? It looks like he will as they get into this double left-hander. So Guardian Knight with a couple of nice moves. He's sided up into P7. Dechal, though, looking back to the inside with the better exit as they make their way through. A bit of a twitch there for Dechal. Actually, no, that was a bit of lag there from Dechal. As the leaders, Williams' day certainly not getting any better. But in terms of drivers of the day, it's probably going to go to Luke 2 Red, Guardian Knight, or Alcoholic. As it stands right now, Robbie, meanwhile, looking to the outside of Stratting, and there actually is going to be some contact there. There's the front wing end plate gone off of our Stratting's Aston Martin. So damage for him. Certainly not going to want to see that. Dechal, I think, did get caught up in an incident there as well. Is he missing now more of that front wing as he tries to get back underway? Was that due to an issue with Guardian Knight? No, it's still just that end plate missing. But Dechal drops right down the order, and he was having a great battle there as well. But yeah, our Stratting as well now with damage. As it does start to get brighter, he is going to dive into the pits and get that front wing changed. So he does not think he'll be able to continue with that damage. That means he's going to drop rather well down the order, and that leaves it to a two-horse race, really. It's Semi Yildiz and Rolik. Now, Semi taking the lead here into turn 1. Can Rolik get him back on the cutback? He will. So it's going to be Rolik still holding on to that lead with 5 laps left to go. Here comes Semi Yildiz with DRS advantage. He's going to be comfortably past Rolik as it stands. Is going to dive back to the racing line eventually there. And here on lap 24, it's going to be Semi Yildiz who takes the lead. Of course, comfortably making his way there. Big twitch, big spin for Semi Yildiz. He's going to lose 1 or 2 spots there. Rolik retakes the lead as Robbie up into second after that big slide for Semi Yildiz at the start of Sector 2, at the end of the S's there, through that slowest portion of it. So Robbie now effectively with a net lead after penalties. He, of course, is going to have DRS as well, so that's going to give him the opportunity to make a move down the inside of Rolik. There he is. They're side by side making their way down the backstretch. He'll pull to the racing line and be comfortably ahead by the braking zone. So now Robbie is your leader. Very comfortable is that Mercedes. through the first sector, pulling out that gap to Rolik by a lot. Rolik gets another 3-second time penalty, so now it's going to be a battle for the podium positions between himself and Eric. Semi looking to the outside, actually the inside of Rolik. Eric not checking up. He's going to go into the back of the Ferrari. DRS, though, for both Rolik and Semi, as they're going to go side by side down the backstretch. Neither one looking to yield, but Semi going to pull to the inside there, is going to get that move done. Rolik did seem to go briefly into the back of Semi Yield is. But Semi back up into P2, so now it's likely a battle for the lead on track. So we'll see if Robbie can pull away and break DRS here. Rolik, meanwhile, wanting to at least get the move done on track. Semi going to defend rather aggressively. He's going to force Rolik to the outside. He is going to tuck back in as they make their way into the braking zone. So it will be Rolik taking P2 on circuit. Yellow flags, that's for R. Stratting, as he and Guardianite potentially with another issue. So Stratting going to drop back down the order and have to recover that car. So that could potentially give Alcoholic a shot at more points. But we're into Sector 3, and 1.2 seconds is that gap behind. So Robbie just has to hold on to that car for a couple of more corners and walk out of here with both the sprint win and the race win. 2 corners left to go for the Mercedes. Just 1 braking zone left to get right into the final braking zone. And despite that 10-second penalty, Sneaky Robbie should walk out of this race as the race winner here in Texas. It'll be Semi in P2, followed by Rolik and Eric in second and third. Jonah as well should get that 10-second time penalty removed, as he's looking to get that move done on Kendricks, but should be done on track. But yeah, it will be, it'll likely be at the end of this race, Robbie 1, Semi, Rolik, Eric. Jonah should come across the line to finish in 5th, so with some great drives from him, especially after starting from towards the back of the field, especially down the race without the penalties. So Jonah 5, I believe it would be then Kendrick 6, Guardian Knight 7, followed by Luke 2 Red. Alcoholic Husky does get that fast lap, so we'll get the extra point despite finishing in P9. Straddling then will round out the top 10, and then of course Dechal, M Requiem, and Oreo will round out your finishers. So certainly a great race. Congratulations, of course, to Robbie on likely getting that race win after the penalties get removed.